All right, guys, my inbox is flooded with messages. You guys liked the last recap of MotoGP so much. I'm so happy that I could share my weird passion with you guys. I'm clearly kind of losing it, not being able to ride bikes, but it's temporary. It's temporary, so here we are. Tomorrow, we have Barcelona's big race, but today we're going to go over the British GP, hence the hat we've got here. 20 laps at Silverstone with a starting grid of Marco Bezzecchi, Jack Miller, Alex Marquez, and Pecco Bagnaia. I believe Alex Marquez was the sprint winner. I haven't been watching the sprint races. I should watch them for you guys and for fun. Right off the bat, Jorge Martin absolutely loses it in the first corner. I don't know why. Do you know why? But then suddenly Alex Marquez has some sort of shifter problem, and he had some sort of brake problem in the practice, I believe, that weekend. Then Bezzecchi, who was on fire, absolutely bins it in his sixth lap. You know what that means? It's time for a spanking from your boss, from Valentino Rossi, because that's what happens when you're on the VR46 team. You get spanked by Valentino Rossi. I don't know. Never mind. Forget I said anything. It's just gone. I don't think I could ever reincarnate as a racer because I could never just deal with that frustration. I want to know how many people have just pooped their track suits in frustration on the side of these gravel pits. Who's pooped their pants in a gravel pit? Let me know down below. And what does Mark do? He crashes. He runs into the back of Bastianini. Thanks, Mark. Just, this was funny because the announcers both kind of just been like, wow, he really just can't keep the bike upright. He hasn't won a race in 69,000 days. This was interesting, though, because I felt like it was going to rain this weekend. It was very cloudy during the race start. Several racers went to go swap for rain tires, which I think is strange to do at the very end of a race, because I'm just like, quit being a little baby and just finish the goddamn race. Felt like the second that the rain hit, Mark just was distracted and ate it. But yeah, I thought it was funny. It was like the people who are swapping their bikes in for rain tires was just like a visual representation of what separates the leaders from the pack. Let me know down below in the comments why you would do that with 4 laps left. There's lots of hot laps. Miguel Oliveira was on fire. He started in 16th and climbed his way to 5th, which is pretty crazy. I do believe he was caught saying it was his favorite track, and it showed. And this was a really fun race to watch because there was a battle between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Aprilia got mighty close to snagging 2 podiums, which would have been the first ever in Aprilia racing history. Didn't happen, but for a little bit, it was a potentiality, and it was really fun to watch. And this was one of those just like really juicy, nougaty, good final racing laps. You got to see how careful and cautious Pecco was, even in the rain, not losing his grip on reality, just totally being in the flow state. But you could smell the tense battle behind him, right behind him. This is the stuff racing dreams are made of. Like, Aloysius was right on his ass. Like, he was right there. But you could see how much quicker Pecco gets on the gas exiting a corner. Like, I saw that was really apparent in the last lap. Like, he just guns it. And that is a huge advantage. And seriously, back to Miguel Oliveira. He must have been smoking that sweet Aprilia rock that morning because he was just on fire. Once again, MotoGP noob. Does he do this? I don't know. What's happening? Suddenly, it's crazy to kind of see certain racers have really awesome weekends and be like, okay, well, where has he been the whole time? I'm one of those weird people. It's like, did you get enough sleep? Did you party last night? Like, what is making you so fucking fast? Clearly it's Aprilia grade meth, right? Like, there's no reason it could be anything else. And then Fabio makes contact with Luca Marini. He gets a big chunk of his own front fender lodged into the front of his tire with 3 laps to go. And I was low-key bummed that, like, the cameras were never on Fabio. Obviously, this was, like, a pretty dramatic race, so there was a lot going on. But I was watching him climb the ranks on the side. You know, he started in 20 seconds. He started in the 22nd place. What the fuck? What am I supposed to say? And he ended up in the top 10. That's pretty crazy on a Yamaha. And it's really well known that this year, Yamaha has kind of given up on the 2023 GP bike. And they keep saying, wait until next year, wait until next year. So that's cool. It was cool to see him at least get up there. And like a good sport, you know what he does with 3 laps to go? He goes in, he grabs his other bike. Not gonna win, but he finishes the goddamn race. And you wanna know why? It's because he's not a baby. He's not a baby swapping his bike for rain tires with 4 laps to go. I don't know why that bothered me so much. It just seemed like a really silly thing to do. Brad Binder scoops up 3rd place as the rain really starts to hit. And you know the getting is good when those teeny little teen square reactions pop up on the side leaderboard. I love those. You just get to... That's how you know it's an exciting race. How are the people reacting to the people who are watching? I want to watch the reactions. I wrote down here... Is your little tiny RNF Aprilia baby man gonna make a podium? Like I said, existential Whitney procreating, seeing everybody as a grown baby, seeing homeless people as bigger babies, seeing MotoGP racers as grown babies. Lots of babies. Everybody just be nice to each other. All right. And then finally in the last lap, as everybody's dabbing their sweat from the Aprilia Ducati sandwichy racy nougaty center takedown, Alicia Spargaro attacks Pecco. They're rubbing, they're racing. What's the saying? If you're not rubbing each other, then why would you ever race? Or if you're racing, you need to rub each other, something like that. And Alicia fucking wins, swing. Just dominates. Man, it made me like the Aprilia bikes. Fucking impressive. So we win as final standings. Aleix, Pecco Bagnaia in 2nd, Brad Binder in 3rd. Brad Binder, man, he's I like watching him and getting to know the racers through their riding techniques. He's working on that KTM. It was kind of cool to see a nice little diverse podium finish for the Silverstone GP. It was the best weekend for Aprilia and the worst ever for Japanese factories. Anyways, time for the Austrian GP. Do I keep the hat? Do I lose the hat? I don't want to know what's going on underneath the hat, so we're going to keep it on. Austria, the land of my people. I don't know what kind of hats they wear, and I keep hearing my refrigerator alarm going off because somebody left the door open, but I'm not gonna go change it. I'm gonna stay right here, finish this out. All right, Austrian GP. God damn, this is the most boring race I have ever watched, and there is nothing worse. I couldn't even think of a metaphor. I felt like I was an elderly man in a geriatric nursing living room. Like I fell asleep and I woke up in a liter of drool. It was embarrassing. That sucks, because it's like you look forward all weekend to the race and then nothing happens. Crocodile tears, right? Boo-hoo, boo the race. But it's like, look, all right, I can't ride motorcycles. I'm pregnant. It's hot. GP is my only saving grace, and you just let me down, GP. Boring. Absolutely boring. So the grid lineup was as follows. You had Pecco in 1st, Maverick Vinales 2nd, Brad Binder in 3rd, and Jack Miller 4th. And Pecco dominated all weekend long. He won the sprint race, and I don't know. I kind of came to this conclusion during this race that Pecco is one of my least favorite people to watch because it must be so hard starting in P1 with the Ducati Desmodici GP bike. Me. That's what I said as I fell asleep in my own drool alone in my dark room. But he's really good, so he's boring to watch. He's not aggressive, doesn't override a bike, just gets in the zone and goes off and no one can touch him. And practically it felt like he was riding his own race this entire session. I mean, I think what made it so boring, actually never mind. I'm gonna talk about that later. It's kind of hard because I want to just vomit everything I saw at you, but I'm gonna try to keep it linear. So there was this weird big chaotic descent in the first corner. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I tried to find better camera angles of it, but I can't. Maverick went down like 11th places, just first turn. But apparently this is common for him. He's not good at race starts. So what I found out, my little deep dive, we saw almost a 2-second gap between Pecco in first and Binder in second. Binder was chasing him, but not the up your butt status like I was given the last race. Obviously, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of gusto to keep up with Pecco. But there was something like, since you're not up his butt, I'm feeling like a little lack of gusto, and there was no way he was going to catch up. You just didn't feel it. Like, you can just feel it if you're tapped in with your TV. I felt like, too, there were a few opportunities to try to overtake him, but I don't think he's the gambling kind of guy. He seemed pretty reserved. Calculated gambling decisions in tenths of a second. And I think what made this race particularly boring were the amount of gaps that happened. So there was a gap between Pecco and Binder. So first and second, there was a gap between second and third and fourth and fifth. But no one was rubbing each other. And if nobody's really rubbing each other, then why are we even racing? You know, we came here to witness the rubbling of gibletinis, butt smacking, up butts, rubbing. I'm tired. I mean, in the 22nd lap, there was a 4-second gap between Pecco and Binder. And then another 4-second gap between Binder and Alex Marquez in third. Snooze fest. Like, when there's that big of a gap, you know that they're never really going to be able to overtake it. That's enough to just suddenly everybody's kind of racing their own race. And then there was some weird Ducati sandwich business happening between Bezzecchi, Alex Marquez, and Luca Marini in laps 25 and 26. Eventually, Marquez got squeezed out by the VR46 pair with 2 laps to go, making the boss very happy by putting his boys in P3 and P4. In the last lap, Bagnaia was all alone, just doing his thing, not biffing it, not bending it, not crashing. Just riding like he does. So boring. What it felt like is Marco Bezzecchi and Luca Marini really worked their fucking butts off. I mean, obviously Binder did too, as he raced his own race alone in second. But he also, you got to give it up for dudes that don't crash, and they just finish the goddamn race. There's a lot to be said there. And guess what? Oh God, I saved the best for last. Marc Marquez didn't crash. Good job, Mark. I'd pull out more streamers and fucking, what are those things called? The birthday squawkers. But that's when these videos, when they start generating any sort of income, I will have more fun party favors. So congrats, Marc Marquez. Looks like Honda worked out some aerodynamic issues that, well, they're just bringing aero to the table now, and Mark kept it upright. Good job, my guy. Let's see. Speaking of Mark, let's see how he does in Barcelona. What do you guys think is going to happen? Think he's going to eat it? Think he's going to eat his own whatever? I don't know. It was also kind of weird. He seemed pretty mysteriously gone from all camera angles, but I guess he was focusing on one thing and one thing only, and that wasn't to crash. I don't know. It feels like Bagnaia is just gonna win. I mean, it's a little early to say that, but it does feel that way. Marco Bezzecchi is fucking just crushing it though. Who's third? Jorge Martin? Let's look it up. Oh, we gotta, hold on. Pecco Bagnaia won, Brad Binder second. Almost 5.1 seconds gap. That's crazy. 7 seconds after him. I mean, you could get off your bike and like dance around and get back on the bike with 7 seconds. Marco Bezzecchi in third, Luca Marini in fourth. That is how we end the Austrian GP. What was I just about to look up? He's second. I was wrong. It goes Bagnaia with 260 points, Jorge Martin with 194, and Marco Bezzecchi with 185. All right, guys. I have no closing things for you. Head to my Patreon if you want to join my Discord. Better yet, buy yourself a Does It Give Your Soul a Boner keychain. I sold a lot of them the first time. I'm really glad. Some people were bitching about how it was pink. I'm like, oh, come on. I picked a bright color so you could see where your fucking motorcycle key is, you dingbat. What do you want, black? What's wrong with you? Thanks for watching. I love the supportive comments. If this is the type of content you want to see, let me know down below. Follow me on Instagram at Whitney Does. Lots of people hit me up on what kind of bikes they should buy, what I think about XYZ. I like seeing your recent bike purchases too. Somebody recently traded in their 701 for an XSR 900. Hell yeah. Love to see it. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.